opening. And I just wanted to start with a little background information about how you and I met, because that is the way that so many sisters get to meet, just by one sister telling another about you've got to meet this sister. And when I first joined World Pulse, and for those who aren't aware of it, World Pulse is a sisterhood with some far out brothers who understand why we need to focus on ending violence against women and girls. And this is a gathering of World Pulse sisters today, along with Hope for Her Global. And the way that Hope for Her Global and World Pulse, the World Pulse Sisterhood came together was that when I joined World Pulse 10 or so years ago, I looked up to see who was in Montreal, um, and there was this powerful woman here who I met in person, and she said, well, this has been a lovely conversation, but you've really got to meet my sister Maria, because you two need to meet. So from that point on, Maria and I have been able to pull uh, sisters from our these organizations that we have found and are part of together. And this is a celebration today, because that's exactly what's happening today. Uh, and um, and so with that, I just want to say that from my perspective, the reason that I am so happy to be invited to host this particular Zoom and be part of 16 Days of Activism against violence against women and girls is that I get to bring in my World Pulse sisters who are astounding, powerful, determined grassroots workers working to create change, working to make sure that every woman and girl is free. And with that, to create a society in which everyone is free and in which we're also taking care of our planet. So those who step forward and are joining us today, thank you so much for your time. I know that you're all extremely busy women, and it's wonderful to see you. As always, to have a Zoom together, to actually be able to be in the same room is something I will never take for granted, because it is changing the world, that we could be working together. So we're going to do a first round on what news we bring, what work we have decided to spend our time doing, what are the emergencies, what are the ongoing projects, what are the changes that you are trying to make. And the second round will be a call out to the world of what we want to see happen now. And within that, whatever you have in your hearts that you want to bring to this meeting today, to this speak out, 16 days of action against violence against women and girls. And I see a beautiful poster put up for us. Thank you. So with that, each one maybe 3-4 minutes just as an opening. Let's bring into the room what you want to bring into the room and put on the table for those who are watching to take in and know that with everything that's being said, behind the words are a powerful activist who's actually doing the work to make these things happen. So, Binta, would you like to start us off? I think Binta is here. Binta was here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I'm looking, Binta, yes, there you are. You're muted. Could you unmute and start us off with what you've been up to and what you want to bring to the table here today?
All right. Good day, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. My name is Binta Usman from Nigeria. Allow me to stand on the existing protocol. I am a lecturer, a data scientist, and also the CEO for Uzbin Women Initiatives. Are you with me? Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Uzbin Women Initiative is a leading organization dedicated to empowering women and promoting gender equality. With a strong commitment to social justice, have become a passionate advocate for women's rights, working tireless to combat gender-based violence and discrimination. As a gender equality activist, I have spearheaded numerous initiatives that support women's education, health, and economic independence. I am leadership and unwavering dedication, continuing to inspire positive change, making my prominent voice in the fight for gender justice. In our organization, our vision is a world where gender-based violence is not tolerated and survivors of trauma are empowered and supported. So our mission is to expose, challenge, and eliminate the culture that allows abuse and inhibits healing and thriving. So our values are connection, respect, humility, diversity, creativity, compression, and social changes. In our organization, we empower women and girls on how to raise their voices, how to discover their power, and how to live their dreams. We also empower them with various vocational skills and women in agribusiness. So presently, we have done an initiative on a sack planting for our women in our community. This sack planting we introduced as an innovative method of sack planting for various crops. The purpose of this sack planting for our women is to introduce sack planting as a sustainable and innovative solution for smallholders women farmers to increase the agricultural productivities of women farmers through better land and resource management. Then to provide women with training on the sack planting techniques for various crops like tomatoes, vegetables, cassavas, and yam. Also to promote sustainable farming practices, including efficient water usage, organic farming, and soil conservation. Also to enhance the economic empowerment of women by improving crop yields and access to markets. So presently, we have done the initiative for the women in our community to promote their sustainable development. So in Nigeria, many girls face significant challenges that hinder their ability to discover their voices, realize their power, and achieve their dreams. So these challenges include limited access to education, cultural norms, economic constraints, and gender-based discrimination. Empowering Nigeria girls is crucial not only for their personal development, but also for their socio-economic. Thanks for listening. For now.
Thank you, Binta. That's powerful work. Every single woman and girl who has the good fortune to cross paths with you is her life is changed because of the kind of message that you give out. And I don't think that we should underestimate any one of us that we are healers. We are creating healing, we're creating power. And Binta, your work is changing the lives of everyone who's lucky enough to cross your path. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to ask EJ to go next, and I want to say a few words about her. She also is a community leader, a powerful activist, and determined that what's being done to her in her life will not be done to other women and girls. She established the first empowerment center in Cameroon and continues her determination to create real and lasting change. So over to you, EJ.
Mama Tam, thank you so much. My sister Maria, all my sisters here, thank you for the opportunity. And by the way, Mama Tam, the Cameroonians are our brothers and sisters, but I'm proudly Nigerian and I work in Nigeria.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I have
So
it right in front of me, Nigeria. My mind is still on Cameroon.
that's fine. That's fine. So I'm here to speak about my work with women and girls, a journey filled with challenges, victories, and determination. Let's face it, patriarchy has laid a foundation that keeps women in poverty. That is so sad. From the time a girl is born, society teaches her to dream small. She's told to be sweet, quiet, and obedient, especially in the global south. In my country, Nigeria, a girl is a perfect fit for the society if she is naive, as if ambition is a flaw. The message is clear. Her place is in the kitchen, and her voice is meant to be silent. I'm happy I found World Pulse during the pandemic. World Pulse taught me that it is not okay for a woman to be silent. And even though all the years I have been condemned for being outspoken, World Pulse empowered me. I found the power in my voice, and I refuse to accept silence. I am unsilenceable, and I want all women and girls to be unsilenceable. Through my work at Andres EduServe, because I am a non-teaching staff in a federal university in Nigeria, I've seen how this mindset of thinking small steals the confidence of girls and women. We suffer silently under emotional abuse, endure words that are cruel online, especially now that the world has blown, I wouldn't say gone, digital. We suffer blame when we're trolled or harassed. Many of us don't even realize that these subtle forms of violence are just as harmful as physical abuse. However, I'm happy to say Andres EduServe, my initiative, is changing this narrative, especially for undergraduates and postgraduates in Nigerian universities. I mean, women and girls. I empower girls to see their value, to recognize their potential, and to know that they are not alone. I tell them about global opportunities that they can take advantage of, something that I didn't see while growing up. I tell them about mentorship. I give myself to them so that I mentor them as well, because I lacked this while growing up. So we teach them to speak out, to dream big, and seek global opportunities. Yes, people will say we are proud. I don't even mind being called proud. If I'm proud for a cause, then it's okay. I've watched these young women transform. Girls who once hid in the shadows now stand tall, chasing careers, leading products, and saying no to violence in all its forms. When a girl believes in herself, the world opens up to her. And when women stand together like we do on World Pulse, we create communities that thrive. My work proves that confidence is the first step towards change. The journey isn't easy, but every smile, every step forward is worth it. Thank you so much for your attention.
EJ, I could listen to you for days. You're truly, truly an orator, and I can just imagine what the transformation is with the women and girls that get to meet you. And it's so true that it's so critically important that we speak out to change the narrative, because the same things are being taught generation after generation to men and boys, that they deserve the position of power over women and girls, and they deserve the leadership positions. So you have cracked that glass ceiling. You have offered such and continue to offer such a powerful message to girls, and it is transformational. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for
Thank
your
you
beautiful
too. Thank
words.
you, everyone.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to Faiza Farouj, who makes sure that women have access to justice. She has received Women's Fund's Justice Award for her grassroots work, and she continues to work for social change, which she will be able to describe more fully than I can. But the beauty of World Pulse is that we can go to each other's sites and find out what each other are doing and make connections with each other. But Faiza is a consultant who stands up to address critical situations in her community and works to ensure that women have access to justice, in particular gender justice, and feel empowered through, I'm sure, feel empowered from having the chance to have even a minute with you. So Faiza, would you take it away?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mama Tam, and thank you everybody in this house with such a positive energy. I hope I'm audible.
Very audible. We hear you
Okay.
beautifully.
Okay, so it's a pleasure to be here with such an inspiration ladies all together. And this is Faiza Farooq. I'm from Pakistan. I'm a lawyer by profession, and I'm a women rights defender. I work in empowering women to access justice. So my work is my passion itself is being a lawyer. I wanted to see courts with more women litigants, women accessing courts more, and the grassroots community women who are not even aware of their rights to come out, to know about their rights, and to come to fight for their rights. So with my passion, my work also starts here. I empower the grassroots community across Pakistan, and I also empower the women lawyers, sensitize them on the GBV cases, how to handle them, how to take them up, and also the grassroots community of women in Pakistan to know about their rights, to know about, to be more aware and more empowered in handling or tackling the GBV. And these 16 days of activism have been very much every year. They are like a reminder that these are not only the 16 days that we're working for, but they continuously refresh us. That's why we need to work strongly and together and unitedly for GBV, or for this ending the violence against women. Because I think in Pakistan, if I talk about it, the GBV is like a story of every other house. If it's domestic violence, even if it's related to the workplace, if it's related to their profession. So GBV is like an overall, it is deeply enrooted. Like my sister here just said that she just mentioned here that the patriarchal mindset, and I believe in our region, uh, irrespective of which region we are all, the patriarchal mindset is dominating, and it is somehow draining the energy of the women to strive for their right, and to take up what they have, what energies they have. So it's up to us women to unite together, to uplift us one another, and this community beautifully does that. The World Plus community, it beautifully brings out the best of each and one of us to unite for one purpose, and to unite and uplift each one of us, and to go out and to get the best of the work that we're doing, and to showcase it, and to celebrate the work that we're doing. So I think I'm really happy to be a part of this vibrant community right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Faiza. I can only imagine the number of women and girls whose lives are changed by the help that you're able to give them. I also want to mention before we continue that I hope that every time we get together as women and girls to speak out, that we call attention to what's happening in Afghanistan. You're the neighbor to your country, Pakistan, Faiza, and I know that a lot of people from Afghanistan have escaped to your country, and for just putting it out there for the record from World Pulse Sisters to any of the countries who are controlling what's happening in their country. Our demand is that there be change for every woman and girl everywhere, and particularly to end this infuriating control over women and girls in Afghanistan, that not only are they forced to be indoors, but they are now also forced to be silent if they're outside. And they're not allowed to speak in the street either, even if they're out walking with a man, which is the only way that they have permission to be outside at all. So we're talking
Should
about
I add
Pakistan, but it just calls to mind your neighboring
Yes,
country.
that is so true, and the point that you raise are so critical and so important. The voices of women are, a matter of fact, whether whether in the top positions or in the grassroots community or in house, women are considered as a second citizen. Their point or their opinions don't matter that much. So their voice are mostly silenced and their voices are mostly unheard. And especially when it comes to the grassroots community, the women are not even allowed to go out from their house, like you mentioned. And it's really, and I mean, that's going to get their rights or fighting for their rights is a dream for them, whether it's education, whether it's health, whether it's their basic rights. So financial independence even. So there's a lot to be done, you know, and when I say there's a lot to be done, then our legal system needs a lot of reformation. Are altogether the structural reformation is required. Our women themselves need to be upgrade. They need to upgrade themselves. They need to have their own self development as well. But then again, it's like a continuous cycle of progress. But like I was discussing it the other day with someone, that the basic the system changes if the grassroots community themselves are aware, they themselves are empowered, if their voices are heard. The donors are there, if they provide the funds for the things, for the system change that is not in the demand of the women community as such. So I also have the objection, because if we do not highlight the grassroots communities issues, if we do not highlight what problems they're going through, what challenges are they going through, I don't think so that the system altogether can make any progress, because we need to get these organic voices out there to highlight the real issues, what's happening in the grassroots communities. I mean, women are not allowed to get education to a level where they can fully support themselves. Women are not allowed to discuss about their sexual reproductive health. They're not aware about the menstrual hygiene even. So that's another question, and we are not. I mean, it's something of a sensitive issue where women are not open to discuss about it openly as well. So that's another issue. With obviously women are working in this area as well, and then legal rights are something, whether it's related to their family disputes, their domestic violence they're going through, or other violence they're going through, it is considered more of a private matter than discussing it out and putting it out so that other women don't suffer the same way. So if one woman is suffering, the mother is suffering, the daughter has to suffer, and then it goes on generation after generation, and there is no break to this chain as well. So this is something that we are also trying to empower the community. I myself and my legal women lawyers team that we have here, we are trying to empower them, to the grassroots community, to know that no, this chain of violence needs to be stopped somewhere, and we need to come out of this suffocating and environment, and we need to be free, independent. So that's also another topic that I think we'll discuss on it.
Brilliantly said. Thank you. And And it is your proximity to Afghanistan that brought me to raise what's happening with women in that country too, because I know from one of the World Pulse sisters who originally escaped her home country, got a lot of support when she arrived in Pakistan, and she's now moved on to another country in Europe, but the sisterhood that's happening between Pakistan and Afghanistan is powerful, and we all, I hope every time we have the chance to voice our concerns about this world, that we raise the subject of what's going on in Afghanistan. How can this be happening with the UN accepting any of the horrific conditions that are happening with our sisters in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, with everybody in Afghanistan. But Pakistan has been a great neighbor, and because of women like you. So thank you for your work, and thank you
Yes,
for
we do support the refugees from Afghanistan, and it's been like we have been providing. I have myself been providing with the help of the legal team and with the help of other organizations, the CSOs and the NGOs, to provide the shelter. They get their identity, and we try in a completely free of cost services, and we also try to ensure if we get these cases to protect them. But obviously it's something needs to be noticed by the UN, like you mentioned, and how it's happening there. It is really saddening to see it, that with such empowered community of women there, they're being silenced to a level that is unimaginable. So yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for bringing in the failure of the UN to address this issue in relation to women, and all issues in relation to women, that the UN seems to be carrying on as if the patriarchy is just fine and if things can stay that way, even though they do give voice to a few women here and there. That's one of the things that makes me so grateful for World Pulse, that we can be building this together, and also our sister organization, Hope for Her Global, which is that connection which has created what's happening right here today with this wonderful Speak Out. So thank you, Faiza. And I'm going to move on to Loretta. I see you here. Loretta of Oda Help from Nigeria. Are you able to unmute and come on, or at least unmute and say a few words? Not sure what's happening right now, but so we'll wait for.
Yeah,
Oh, there you are. Okay.
okay. Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, everybody from Nigeria. Glad to be sharing the same space with all my sisters once again. It is the 16 days of activism once again, and seriously, I am looking just beyond these 16 days. I know that, issues about sexual gender-based violence is a continuous, advocacy, is a continuous push, is a continuous campaign. And most of the time, I tend to sit back and think about what is actually happening. Why is it that, men will want to show their masculinity against women and children? Why? There's no integrity. They do not have any peace in their hearts. They do not have any peace in their homes. So how do they function? Why would you want to show your masculinity, especially when it comes to violence? Why? If that means even when you look at somebody and you think this person has the integrity, this person looks responsible, this person is a gentleman, there's no gentleman in him. The gentleman we see is just a public image. And beyond that public image, it's the beast that we are looking at. So I keep asking myself, I keep interrogating myself, I keep asking this question over and over again. And I have come to understand that without men buying fully into this campaign, without men on their own deciding that it is time to give peace a chance, we will continue to say the same thing over and over and over again. Then when we come to judiciary system, what is the judiciary doing? Doing enough? Do we have enough laws? And when we do we have enough implementation?
Loretta, we're not able to hear you suddenly.
Why?
No, you're
The
still there?
appeal
Oh,
court
good.
has just appealed.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very painful, but then what can we do? The judiciary has said, and once the judiciary says, of course, it's the last, what do they call it? The last platform you have. So there is no hope for survivors anymore. There is no hope. Have passed through enough trauma. And then when I also sit down and look at what we women do to ourselves, when we look at ourselves and we do not think of the intersectionalities that happens within, our sphere as women, I wonder where we are going. Some women have refused completely to understand where we are and where we are going to. In fact, where we are coming from, that there has to be a shift. I know that I canceled, I had about 3-4 children, secondary school children I was canceling sometime last year. In fact, since 2021, I have been working with them. And it has not been easy because each time that I want to speak with their mothers, these are minors. The things I have recorded, they have said about what is happening in their homes. I try to call their mothers to speak to them about it. Their mothers do not want to talk about it. It is a hush-hush for them and shouldn't be discussed.
Mm.
And secondly, when they look at from their abuser's house, what is going to be their fate? So when they look at all this also, they don't want to talk about it. They live in denial. And even those of us that understand, how far do we go to ensure that more women and girls do not pass through the same trauma? It is same women that we feel that know better than others that are inflicting more.
Loretta, you're still there? We were hearing you until just a few seconds ago.
What else do we do? Do we just fold our arms and wait until another 16 days? So these are some of the issues I want to bring to the forefront that we all have to think about it, reflect on it, and maybe as the discussion goes on, we'll share more experiences and maybe a way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's yeah, what you brought to the table is so true. The power of sitting down and talking with women and girls about what they've been through, finding out what they've been through, and um, and and painting a picture of a different world, that things don't have to be the way they are now. And we know from Loretta's site on World Pulse that that she speaks out constantly in her community, and it's great to hear your stories today about the young girls who are getting to meet you, and the your determination to cut through that silence that the mothers of these girls still feel that they have to adhere to. So thank you for being here, and thank you for the work that you're doing. I see Caroline Seaman in the room. Caroline, would you like to come on and say hello?
Hi, everyone.
Is this you,
I'm
Caroline?
fine, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. I want to say a few words about you because we've been aware of Caroline's work in World Pulse for some time. She's been mentoring countless girls for many years, putting issues on the table, encouraging their voices, putting microphones in their hands, uh, uh, giving them the chance to test their voices and speak out strongly. A memorable moment that I know of is that on International Women's Week, not that long ago, two of the girls spoke out on the radio, and the government, as I understand it, the government wanted to shut them down, but the radio allowed them to continue to speak despite being told to be silent. So this is the kind of work that Caroline Siemens' leadership is bringing in her community. So take it away, Caroline.
My name is Caroline. Hi, everyone. I'm from Kenya, and I'm here to represent widows. I've been a victim of widow, and I know the challenges that widows have been undergoing here in our country, Kenya. Some of the challenges that as widows we are facing, because as widows we are the most targeted in gender-based violence. And we are struggling to heal. We are victims in gender-based violence, and we have been silenced for a very long time. But we thank God for this 16-day of gender-based violence activism that has given widows a chance to speak and a chance, our voice to be heard, and to know the challenges that as widows we are undergoing. Some of the challenges that as widows we are undergoing is husband inheritance. We are even forced to enter into marriages once our husbands have died. And even there is land grabbing. Maybe you have been left with the land. People are struggling very hard to grab that land so that you can never get possession. And it's like now guys take advantage because now the defender has died. No one can defend you. So they'll come in and abuse you, talk abusive language over you, not considering even you have children. They don't consider that. Some of the in-laws who are there to stand in the gap to help you move and to stand in prayers for your life to move on, because it's not a good journey. Once your better half has died, it's like you're empty, you have got no ally, you are ruthless. Things are becoming so much tight, things are becoming too much hard because the way you think it's not the way life is going to drive you. It's a difficult period of time as widows we are undergoing. Even when it comes to equality, some of the in-laws want that share, even them, they want to be shared to them. Wherever benefits the late husband left behind, they want it to be shared to them. And for me, that's another violence. And even you become a laughingstock because even you're rejected, no one cares about you. No one is there to show you love. They're always there to mislead you. And those are the challenges that as widows we have undergone. And what I've come to realize when it comes to making decisions, always be wise. Make the right choice. Always ask for wisdom. Talk to your children. Speak to them. Tell them how you feel in your heart, because no one can understand you. Because the in-laws that you're depending, they could stand in the gap. They are becoming the CCTVs and cameras everywhere, monitoring, pirating what you're up to. And even they will start, if you lend them your ears to speak what they can, because they'll be coming with issues every now and then. And once you hear their issues, you can never, as a widow, be strong and always be focused. Never allowed to be a victim. Always be victorious. Never allowed to be in mess. Always be a messenger. to deliver and to empower other widows, because life has to move on. We have to meet our targets. We have got goals, we have got dreams, we have got vision. It doesn't matter. As women, we are capable, and we have got that strength to put our children in that secure umbrella, and our children should always trust in us and never rush into a second marriage. You can come with the wrong decision because maybe you are in bitterness and maybe you're taking revenge and you decide it's like now you want to be married again. Be very conscious when you want to enter into another marriage, because you can enter in a marriage and you'll find the husband that is marrying you will end up even sleeping with your daughters, because there is no bloodline there. They can do anything. Even some of them, they can enter in your life to grab and to snatch and to steal whatever little has been left behind. So widows always be prayerful and ask God for intelligence, and always you should be focused and have vision. He's dead. He's no more. He can be found for them to be back on life. And children are there. We have to feed our children. They have to move on, and we have to show them that we're strong and we are there to make them be achievers. They're not going to be targets or victims. And I thank God that I, Caroline, I can speak on behalf of widows to change this generation on the 16th day of the gender-based violence activism. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Caroline. And my apologies in my introduction. I was thinking that it was Caroline Seaman, another World Pulse sister. But Caroline, what you have brought needs to be heard at the UN. What you have brought needs to be carried by all of us. These stories that pass generation to generation, that this is the way it is, and that women are essentially expected to submit to what you're describing is something that we've all got to pick up and carry with you. The change that you're making in your community is palpable from what you've just described, and so critically life-saving and important. How dare men continue to teach each other to control women in the way that you're describing? But this is what we're here to do as World Pulse Sisters, is to challenge all of the rules that we're told are the only way that a world can function. And your work is phenomenal. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing it to the table. This is what we need to do, holding hands across the world, all of us picking up on the information that's being brought here like yours, and work together to make sure that we see change happen. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, I do see Caroline Seaman. No, I don't see Caroline. I was just thinking it. Caroline Seaman is the Caroline that I was mistaking you for. But I wanted to say that I do see Judith in the house somewhere. Do I not?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Judith Okibi. Well, let me say a couple of words about Judith Okibi. She is a social worker, a community empowerment advocate, a founder of Helping Hands Kenya. And by that title, you can tell the kind of work that she does. My image of Judith, just from the stories she tells us, that when she leaves her house, she's constantly looking for exactly in the community that she's walking past to see what they might need. Passionate about empowering the lives of vulnerable children, young people, women, has worked for UNICEF and other agencies, watches every minute for someone who might need help from her. And a quote from her that I want to bring to the table here, quoting her: "From an early age, I felt a deep calling to help the disadvantaged people." And this is what she does through Helping Hands Kenya. So with that, Judith, The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Okay, this is Judy from Heha, Kenya. Thank you, Mama Tam, for your introduction. And basically, Helping Hands works to change the lives of the vulnerable in the society. Our vision is to inspire people and contribute to the well-being of the vulnerable children, youth, and women in the society. And our mission is to identify and reinforce women, youth, and children's role in education, leadership, and development. Thank you so much for giving me this platform, and thank you to all World Pulse sisters. I'm happy, and I know the kind of sharing we've been having there and the network. So I believe I'm not, some of you know me, and I know you too. Basically, today I wanted to discuss about the gender-based violence in our upcoming program, which is done in Homa Bay County here in Kenya. Homa Bay County is located in Nyanza, the former Nyanza province in Kenya, near Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is the world's largest tropical lake. It is central to livelihood of many residents. However, along with the benefit, it has become the backdrop for significant social challenges. One, we are having teenagers, girl teenagers in Homa Bay face an alarmingly high risk of HIV and unattended pregnancy. In Kenya, we know that Homa Bay County is one of the number one, I can say number one last year, county that is very much affected with the HIV AIDS. So, but the factors that are contributing to HIV AIDS is the gender inequality, poverty, inadequate sexual and reproductive health education, and limited access to services. So this affects all the girls there and the women, and that's why we are having so many widowers there and widows. And again, we are having a lot of orphans, and then we are having so many girls dropping out of schools. The key issues in Homa Bay County that are some of the challenges we are facing in that county. Number one is the sex for fish practice. Now, these are women trading for sex with fishermen, and this is so sad and very alarming. And this is because of poverty and because of lack of information and education. Another one, number two, is gender inequality. Social norms and economic disparities leaves women and adolescent girls vulnerable. And this is because we are having these women who are widows, and they have to exchange for sex with the fishermen so that they can be able to at least have food for their families, and maybe they are given a small money to cater for their children in school. So now we find out that some of them will even exchange their daughters with the children that are even underage to the fishermen, so that they can be able to get the basic needs. And again, we are having their children that are lacking sanitary towels, they are lacking clothes. You know, we all understand how adolescence changes the lives of our girls. So most of them will also run to the fishermen so that they can exchange for sex, for them to be able to get their basic needs too. Number three is about the limited access to services. Health facilities are often too far or unaffordable for many. Adolescents lack proper sexual and reproductive health education, leaving them ill-equipped to protect themselves. And the worst part is the poverty level and vulnerability. Homa Bay is among the Kenya poorest region. It relies on risk practices like the one I've mentioned earlier, sex for fish. And poverty drives teenage girls into early marriages or transactional relationships. Now we are here, gender-based violence. So GBV is widespread in Kenya, with 34% of women experiencing physical violence and 13 experiencing sexual violence since age 15. We are having harmful cultural attitudes such as female subjugation, cycles of violence, and disempowerment. So we are looking at solutions that may bring change into this county and the society at large. As a community-based organization, we work closely and at the grassroots level with the community. We came up with these solutions that we are looking for collaborations, partners, well-wishers, and funds to do the following. Number one is research. We want to conduct a qualitative and quantitative study to better understand the root causes and scope of issues like HIV, teenage pregnancies, and GBV in Homa Bay. Evidence-based finding will guide intervention effectively. Number two, sexual and reproductive health education. We want to launch a community and school programs to teach. Number one, safe sex practices, importance of consent and combating gender stereotypes, mental health support for young girls and survivors of GBV. Number three, material support for disadvantaged girls. So like distributing sanitary towels, food, clothing, undergarments, social and school supplies to girls in school and improve their dignity. And again, we are looking at supporting them in school, which we've been doing to other counties, paying part of the school fees, especially the girls in secondary level, and supporting them with the school stationaries like uniforms, books, pens, etc. Number four, advocacy and capacity building is very key, both in the girls, women, and the society at large. So we want to empower girls and women to challenge harmful cultural norms. We want to train local leaders to advocate for change within their communities. Number five, addressing poverty. We want to create income-generating activities program for women to reduce dependency on fishing-related practices. We want to support saving groups and vocational training for adolescent girls and young women. Number six, partnering with stakeholders is key. I hope all of you are listening. We invite government agencies, NGOs, private and any other interested party to collaborate with HEHA Kenya. Helping Hands Kenya, in short, it is HEHA Kenya. So if you even check on our website, social media handles, it's HEHA Kenya. So these are, and we are looking at finance intervention, donation of resources, and Homa Bay has one of the highest suicide rates in Kenya. We are sharing example where education and empowerment program have also reduced teenage pregnancies and HIV rates. together we can make a difference. And as EHA Kenya always say, the needy are our priority. So we call upon anyone that is here and anybody that is interested, because that is our new project that we are working on, and it's not far with, or it's also related with other programs that we've been doing in other counties, like in Mombasa, Migori County, Homa Bay County. So we are calling all of you in one way or another, if we can work together and change the lives of the disadvantaged in the society. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. This is a call out to the whole community that's listening, and I can just imagine the power of your voice in your own community, because what you have outlined is serious, powerful work that you're doing on many fronts, and addressing situations that are so deeply urgent and so deeply disgusting that women would have to be facing these horrendous situations in trying to figure out how to just barely survive. Thank you, Judith, for your work. And we're going to go next back to EJ, because EJ is going to have to leave early. So we'll hear more from her and then continue on with this amazing group of speakers that you all are here today. So EJ?
Well, can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, that is awesome. Thank you very much again for this opportunity. And it's time for me to talk about the call to action, what needs to change, and how can we help. The time to act is now. We cannot stay silent while patriarchy continues to cripple women and girls. Poverty isn't just about money. We've heard so much today, and I'm so happy that our sisters are all over the world, from HIV advocacy to this widowhood stuff, sex for fish. Whoa. It's about stolen opportunities. Poverty is about shattered confidence and a system that tells girls that they are not enough. We need to be unapologetic about what must change. Education must teach equality from the classrooms to the homes. We need to stop teaching girls to string themselves and start teaching boys to respect women as colleagues. Online spaces must also be safe for girls. Emotional abuse and trolling are violence, and we need stricter laws to protect women from cyberbullying. Communities must hold abusers accountable. Violence thrives in silence. We have seen that. We need systems that encourage reporting and provide real support to survivors. And it's time to invest in women. Give women the tools, funding, and training that they need to succeed. I'm happy I was part of the Shift the Power campaign that World Pulse is working on right now. Financial independence is a powerful shield against abuse. But it isn't just about laws and policies, it's about us. What can we do? We can speak up when we see injustice. We can support organizations fighting for women's rights. We can mentor a woman or a girl and show her what's possible. Remember, change doesn't just happen by chance. It happens when we demand it, when we refuse to look the other way, and when we invest in the power of women and girls. Together, we can break that cycle. So, I ask you, will you take a stand? Let's continue to break that cycle. Let's continue to take that stand because the future of our girls depend on it. Thank you very much once again for this opportunity and enjoy the rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, EJ. You have a way of pulling community together with your powerful words, and we're absorbing all of the different things that we need to work on together. This is a documentation of what needs to change, and everyone here is doing amazing work, and all of the work that needs to be done needs to be carried by all of us. This is the power of World Pulse. This is what we're doing together. Okay, it's wonderful to see many people have joined into this powerful conversation of World Pulse Sisters on what we're doing and what we want to see happen.
Excuse me, Tam, just to let you know and to alert you, Carolyn Simon is now here.
Yes, I
Okay.
I did see her come in. I'm glad. Welcome, Caroline. We've also got Ada in the room too. Caroline Seaman, would you like to go next? We're doing a first round on what you've been up to, what you see as necessary, what you want to see happen. And if you are ready, we'd love to hear from you. Caroline has, for a long time, been gathering girls together and bringing them into their power by helping them find ways to find their voices through speaking out and through camera work, documenting what they've been doing. And there's one story that I wanted to bring in, introducing the kind of power that Caroline manages to bring to young women. There was an International Women's Day not long ago when a couple of young women who have been mentored by Caroline took the radio spot and started to speak out strongly about women and girls and what needs to change as an International Women's Day speak out. And the government, as I understand it, tried to get the radio station to close them down, and the radio station kept them with the microphone so they could have their full say. And that's something that I'll never forget. That is one tiny part, but powerful part of the effect that Caroline has on the girls that are lucky enough to be under her mentorship. So, Caroline, would you like to take the floor next? If you're there, okay, I saw you were muted. Are you ready?
Sorry, I lost my voice.
Oh my goodness. Real.
Hear me?
Okay. Well, you're here in spirit. You're here in person. But I can hear that it's just not possible for you to possibly put in the chat for us what you would like to say. I'm so sorry that you've lost your voice for the moment, but you're here in spirit. And I just am so inspired by the work that you do with girls. I've been able to know about it because of the stories that you have on World Pulse, and because of the contact that we've been able to have together over the years. So all the best with getting your voice back. I feel your presence in the room, and I hope that you get your voice back soon. The world needs your voice. If you have not had a chance to speak, would you raise your hand? Because I don't want to miss anybody. And if we, Ada,
I'm here, Tam. Busayo is also here.
Busayo,
I've
thank
been
you.
here since the beginning.
Yes, of course you have. Busayo is one of the first World Pulse sisters I met when I joined the platform, and she has been a great inspiration to me because of her work tirelessly in her community. I cannot imagine the number of women and girls whose lives she's changed because of the constant work that she's doing. And I happen to know that she extends herself personally to even at present have taken a young one under her wing who needed immediate care because of the brutality that she has experienced recently. So Busayo, the floor is yours. Please bring
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry that I won't be able to put on my video again because I have a low bandwidth. Can you please hear me clearly?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, we are happy. We are in another 16 days of activism. And every year, God has been helping us to at least move a step forward. We in Nigeria, like the other speakers that have spoken, that are from Nigeria have spoken, they have spoken the truth about our environment and our community. But mainly I will focus on our effort in developing the agency of women and girls survivors in Nigeria. And our work mainly is to help them to provide a platform for them, that is the survivors of violence against women and girls, to find their voices, discover their power, and to live their dream. And this is because you know, the culture of our culture of silence and the blame game, blaming the survivors instead of the perpetrator, and then stigmatizing the survivor instead of the perpetrator, is what has been making violence against women and girls to thrive in our community. And so when we help them to find their voices, they break the silence. When we help them to find their truth, they go over the blame game. And when we help them to see themselves, to look inward, and then to see that they have the capacity to move on, then they get over the stigma and the stigmatization. I will share some experiences of the challenges facing the survivor, the challenges facing us that are working with them, and then what we can do. And so the first thing is that in our community, they don't expect you, even when you are going through violence, to speak about it. You don't expose yourself, you don't expose your family, because most of the cases of rape the perpetrators are close families. We have the issue of fathers raping their own children, issue of uncles, stepfathers, brothers raping their own sisters. And so when it happens like that, they want you to keep quiet. They don't want us to speak about it. Why will you go and wash your dirty lining in the public? Why will you go and expose your own family? These are the things that the survivor will be hearing, even if when they want to get justice. And so they begin to tell them all kinds of things to bring them down and to down their morale in asking for justice. Another challenge is that most of the people that have this issue, they don't have the financial wherewithal to go all the way to get justice. And some of us that are working with them too, we are struggling financially. And so by the time we don't have the finances wherewithal, they will get tired, we will also get tired. And another thing is that getting justice, even though we have some laws in place in Nigeria, many of them are not being implemented. It's one thing to have law. It's one thing to develop policies, but it's another thing to implement them. And we are praying. We are working earnestly. We are developing series of movements here and there, advocating that even the law that we have on ground, if we are able to implement them, survivors will be getting justice. And so these are the challenges. And for us that are working with them, if you don't have liver, you are not ready to face all kinds of threats. Because as they are threatening the survivor, they will be threatening you. We will bring you down. You think you want to send me to jail? Before you send me to jail, I will get rid of you. These are the kind of threats that we get every day. But many of us, somebody like me, I have decided when I went to this work, I always tell them, this work has been given to me to do by God, and He's able to protect me. Nobody, if my time has not come to die, nobody can kill me. And so I have that at the back of my mind, and that is what has been keeping me going. But not all of us that have this liver, and we have seen a lot of actors that have thrown in the towel. They don't want to risk their life. My house has been burgled into. My office has been burgled. There is nothing, it's only death that I have not faced in the course of this work. I've faced series of abuse. But what keeps us going is that if all of us throw in the towel, where are we going to be today? And that is what should be keeping all of us. I want to encourage all of us today. We will not die before our time. And there are always price to pay for any kind of job. Let's see this our own as that is the risk behind it. And that is what has been keeping us going. On the issue of intimate partner abuse, they will be telling the survivor, leave. Some of us will be telling her, some of them will be telling her, stay. Some of us will be telling them, leave. But nobody, and not many people, will be talking about how is she going to cope when he leaves. And this has made many women to stay in the place of abuse until they lose their lives. When they leave, what will they be doing? How will they be coping? And this is what my organization have taken up, that we need a shelter for somebody suffering abuse. Before you can fight justice, the person must leave the place of abuse. But we have a shelter. And for you to take people up, these are the people that don't have any finances on their own. You need to have you also need to have the capacity to feed them, to help them to learn some skills, and to help them in a way by which they will stand on their feet, and if need be, they will leave this place of abuse and to also live their dreams. Many of them have the fear. What will I be doing? What will people say? How will I be coping? How will I be taking care of my children? And when I'm not able to take care of my children, my husband can go to court again and say, she cannot take care of the children and take away the children for me. And you know what children is to mothers. And so these are the challenges that are on ground. We have been able to have series of sensitization on radio, in schools. We work with community leaders to change this narrative. We work with government. We are happy now that Ministry of Justice are coming to our aid. We can get lawyers from them. But the main issue now is helping the survivors financially and helping the people that are working with them. There are very few grants that actually focuses on interventions. Few of them. And when these grantees the people give you grants, they want you to do exactly what they want you to do. They don't want you to now say, because as a result of this issue that come up, I was able to spend some of your money on this. They don't want to hear that. And most of them don't have grants that focuses on intervention on these cases. It's high time that at the level of United Nations to fund actors that are working to stop violence against women. They should not be shouting about 16 days of activism every year when they are not helping the people that are in the grassroots, that are working with these people, with these survivors. You are not helping us, and you keep on shouting that you want to stop violence every year. At the United Nations in September, I was able to attend, and I was able to tell them at that level there, I said, it's like you are not sincere with all your shouting. If you are sincere, then target the grassroots organization. Fund them for interventions, and then this violence will be minimized. I said, that is if you are sincere. But the way I'm seeing it, you will just be rolling out money all over the places every year. The money is not getting to the people that are doing the work. Then I can see that you yourself, you are not sincere. And so this is the shout that we should keep shouting out there, so that we will be able, in the real sense of it, minimize violence against women and girls. And also, all of us, we must work together. We cannot do this work alone. In my state, we decided to have movement against violence against women. When we discovered that our state is getting first position in violence against women issues, we come together and we can see it working. When you are working with a survivor and like 10 organizations are solidly behind her, they won't know, the perpetrator won't know who to face. They won't know who to target. They will say, if you kill this one, will you kill this one? Will you kill everybody because you want to free? So moving together, movement will help us a lot in our community. Let's come together. This work, you cannot do it alone. You need to come up together. Recently, we rescued a 16-year-old girl that was raped by the man of the house, where she was working as a helper. And so immediately they know she was pregnant. They push her out of the house. And when she got to her family, the family said, you want to bring stigma to our family. They push her out. Nobody want to take her in. And when we got her, the person that brought her to our community have a bargain with her because the girl was helpless. She told her, I will take the baby from you, but I will give you stipends after you giving birth. And she was using that even as a labor, even with the pregnancy when we discover her. But we thank God, we came our way, and she opened up to us. And we were able to take her to the hospital. She delivered safely by CS because we were told that she would have died if they attempted for her to give birth to that child naturally. We paid for the CS. We rented a place for her. She's settled now with her child. Thank you, Tam. I hold her out. I shouted. It was only from Tam that I received feedback. And this is what has been happening. You see, we don't have the grant to help these people, but we want to help. And so you will feel helpless if nobody helps you. But because time could come to my aid, I was able to put down 50% of my own salary for that month because I got encouraged that somebody at least answered to my call. These are the things that we should put out there. It's high time they fund this work. And at the grassroots level, they are giving our government money. They will be rolling out several millions of dollars, but it's not getting to the hand of people that need the money. Thank you.
Thank you, Busayo, for this challenge to our governments that at this point in time, with all of the work being done, the government should have the funding made readily available to any women who want to provide a place for women and girls to escape violence. I know that we went through this in the 1980s in Canada, challenging the government so that we could have shelters across the country that still exist today and still are needed. So it's so powerful and essential and encouraging that you're carrying all of the wisdom that you just described and all of the news that you just described, that you're calling for everyone to challenge our governments to fund these shelters for women as long as there's violence against women and girls. Thank you for everything that you do. We're going to continue on. I see Ada in the house, and Ada, I've had the tremendous pleasure of meeting in person when she moved to Canada, and it's wonderful to see you here. Take it away and bring to us what you're here to say today. Yes.
Mama Tam.
Oh, yeah, who's speaking?
It's Banja.
Banja.
Yes, I kindly request to interject a bit for a minute.
Absolutely.
There's an organization you're collaborating with, the African Women Leadership Network. Our representative is in the house and she has to leave. So she was requesting if she could introduce herself and the organization for a minute.
Absolutely. And then we will also, yes, then absolutely, yes.
So kindly allow Immaculate to introduce, and then just a minute, and then you'll be able to proceed. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, Immaculate.
Hi, Pam. Hi,
Welcome.
Busayo. Hi, Caroline. It's been a while. After I lost Leah, I sort of lost myself and I left the platform a bit because of the trauma of losing Leah Okeo. And I've always been joining and I've been having it rough, but I'm slowly healing. You all know Leah was my mentor. Leah is the one who introduced me to World Pulse. And so it was really tough during that period. Otherwise, I'm glad to be back. My name is Immaculate Moit. I've been a World Pulse ambassador, a World Pulse member, and someone who World Pulse has grown. And I'm really glad to, hi, Caroline. I'm really glad to join the rest of you today. I co-lead the social mobilization pillar with Linda Banja, who is in here at the African Women Leadership Network, the Young Women Caucus in Kenya. At the African Women Leadership Network, we focus on 6 pillars: peace and security, leadership and governance, social mobilization, intergenerational mentorship, and economic empowerment of women in Africa. There are various chapters across Africa, but I'm here representing the Young Women Caucus, the Kenyan chapter. Basically, we do various activities. We've been part of the End Femicide movement in Kenya. You all know Kenya has been in the news for all wrong reasons. Young women are being killed, old women are being raped, and Kenya has sort of become unsafe suddenly for women. We don't feel safe anymore. I've been part of various groups across the country, just organizing for marches, marches to end femicide across Kenya. But particularly at AWLN, our pillar is focusing on sexual and gender-based violence, HIV and AIDS, and ending teenage pregnancy. That's basically what the social mobilization pillar does. We've had various collaborations. For example, let me just also take this opportunity to say the organization that I co-founded has grown leaps and bounds. We've had donors who've funded us for more than 10 years now. And now we've partnered with AWLN, African Women Leadership Network, to run community events. And so we've held girl summits. I've just finished one this particular week where we had 500 girls for 2 days. They had aspects of technology, and I had an opportunity to introduce World Pulse to them. I had an opportunity to have circles for reproductive health, circles for gender-based violence, circle for teenage mothers, because then we also look to improving outcomes for teenage mothers within the larger African Women Leadership Network, and also just as we take Kenya, the organization I found. I'm so glad to reconnect with sisters at World Pulse. And just to see your lovely voices, hear your lovely voices, see your lovely faces. But then I also just want to say, Caroline and Busayo, right now we have technology facilitated gender-based violence. So what is our call to action? It's time we asked our governments to implement either have a software that can protect women online, or have a mechanism of tracking people who are encouraging cyberbullying, people who are targeting young women and children, especially girls, for sexual exploitation online, because then the violence has then shifted from our communities to now our online spaces, which is really, really sad. We need more platforms like World Pulse, where all women are feeling safe to be themselves, to be authentically who they are, and we need to start that now. You know, if it's possible, we should start a campaign against technology facilitated gender-based violence, because we have seen, those of us who are in this meeting, we have seen what digital spaces can do to women when they are safe. Look at us here, connecting globally in more than 100 countries, because it is safe for us to do so. And when it becomes unsafe, it means less women are going to be empowered. It means less women will not even access opportunities, you know, because when it's safe, we access opportunities, we connect with each other, we build a sisterhood, we have a support system. And when there is a lack of safety online, it means women will shrink back to themselves. And the gains made globally in gender equality will be taken away. So we really have to fight that we be safe online. We have to fight it. And we have to fight it by maybe writing articles on World Pulse, calling our governments, calling our representatives to have even bills in parliament, because no one is speaking about it. Why? Yet it is affecting women. Look at how, for example, to use the example of Kamala Harris, the decampaigning that happened online, you know, the dehumanization of such a great, powerful woman. Who is speaking for that? So you can imagine, if someone like Kamala Harris can be dehumanized online, what about me, a girl from rural Africa? You know, so we need to start fighting it, because then technology facilitated violence will make us not even access leadership opportunities, because people who have ill intentions will use that to demoralize us. And apart from that, I think most of us have talked of male engagement. But what does male engage really look like? Do we want to bring men into our spaces and give them an opportunity to attack us? Can we dictate what male engagement should look like? Yes, we need allies, but what should allyship look like? So that men do not come in our spaces to dictate how those spaces should look like. And then they start again perpetuating the same negative social norms in our spaces. We should be very categorical when we want male engagement in our spaces. How should it look like? We must be the one to call the shots when we are engaging men in our spaces. Lastly, collaboration. Collaboration, and partnership. We should not forget partnering with each other, even if it just means Tam bringing in her skills, for example. Caroline Seaman brings her skills in mobilizing girls. Collaboration should not necessarily be monetary. Collaboration should be time, expertise, So let us start looking at collaboration and resources differently so that we can tap into each other. I think that is it for me this evening. I've had a very long week. I'm feeling tired, but I'm really glad because I really need to log off because I'm traveling tomorrow with a 3 a.m. flight and I need to at least start preparing. So thank you so much, Tam. It is nice connecting with Busayo, Banja, Caroline Seaman, EJ, and the rest of you. Have great deliberations. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you were able to be with us. What a powerful, powerful list of things that we need to keep prioritizing. And in the part on mentioning male engagement, this is a perfect transfer over to Charles, who has been a man who has been supportive of the work that women have been doing through World Pulse for a long time, and he has asked specifically if he could be given the microphone to hand to a young woman in the room who has something to say. So thank you, Charles. Charles, let's move to you next.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all that I'm hearing. And we need to empower our women and our girls, particularly when it comes to laws. We have issues with the people who can assist us in advocating the issues of widows, the issues of girls who are raped, issues of defilements, which is quite rampant in Kakamega County. But I know we agreed with the bunch sometimes that they will come round as pro bono advocates to support us in this. But today, because it's sisters talking all around the world, I have a widow who is the vice chair of Widow Group, who requested that she could say something by name of Joyce.
Welcome, Joyce. Take it away.
Thank you. My name is Joyce, and I'm so much glad to hear from you. I'm so much glad for the session. I, as a leader or vice chairperson for the widows here at Alpha, I thank you people, because for whatever we have been discussing, I can find in that it is so much supportive on my side. And if I may say something about widows, widows have been facing so many challenges that they could not withstand. And I thank the Alpha Support Development Program that made us come together and we can share our issues, we can share our problems, we can speak out, because we have so many people who are giving up with the life because they were passing so many difficulties. They were neglected, they were abused, they could not access to whatever they need or their properties. So some of them have been gaining through this program. And what I may say is, we look forward, or we would want, or we would like to be empowered so that we can sustain or make any progress in our lives, because we have children we are taking care of. We have families that are we are looking after. So because of the challenges we are facing, we find it difficult. And if you can be educated or supported on such, I know the life will move, we will not give up, we will go on well, and together I know we can make it, and we can continue educating or helping other people who are being affected or who are giving up for their life. And I know as widows, we are now in a position that we can make things that can make us progress. Being educated, we can continue helping each other or giving support for one another, and we progress. I think for that few remarks, I thank you and welcome you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mama Tam, they have come up with a poultry project that they are doing out of saving 10 shillings per day for 1 year. And they are also doing what they call table banking, just to see if they can make ends meet to support their families. We have also challenges with the issues of educating some of these children. And also the constant meeting that we have with the children is also a need that we need to be looking after. So we thank God for you, and I put on a skirt because of what is happening around the world for women and girls. Thank you.
Well, this is powerful work being done, and you've brought up an important aspect to this, that as many here have, that we're expected to do this work for no money. And we know how much more work we'd be able to do if proper funding was going to women. So thank you for raising the issue. Thank you for the work that you're doing. And yes, we do need to press our governments to start funding all this work that so many women are doing. There are some who haven't had a chance to speak yet, and I want to make sure everybody has the chance. Ada, would you like to go next?
Okay, thank you so much, Tam. Thank you, ladies. It's been a heated room, and I'm very happy to see you all adding your voices and hoping that this 16 days activism is going to come with changes, because we do that all the years. From my end, I'm working now from Canada to Cameroon, but most of my work is being done in Cameroon. And I want to be able to tell you that we are doing our best as women of Cameroon to be able to add our voices, to be able to fight and include women from the grassroots at every level to be part of the process of change in our country. But there are lots of things which women have to carry along as they get into the spaces of advocacy. And that is what I want to be able to express this morning. So from domestic violence to rape, to torture, to intimate partner violence, to the girls not having access in education, and to lots of human trafficking, prostitution, and sexual violence existing in our communities, there is a need for us to continue doing the work that we are doing. And that was my motivation to be able to do the work that I started doing some 15 years ago. As a secondary school teacher, I found a need to use the spaces in the schools to engage young girls and encourage them, mentor them through education so that they will become refined women leaders tomorrow. We moved from the communities to be able to talk on issues against domestic violence because I was a victim of domestic violence. And I lived in that marriage for 23 years. And I wanted to see the kids that I have been transformed, not to be perpetuators. And so were other women in the community living in that same situation because of the fear and the stigma that runs on women who leave their homes. There's a load that we carry as women leaders, and we are not able to express. Even though we are educated, we still have limitations. Limitations because the laws and policies are being orchestrated by the men, and we still do not have our voices where these laws need to change. All what the women have to do is sensitization, advocacy, getting into the churches and getting to talk to pastors and finding solutions. But again, this has not been the change that we wanted for a very long time. But we kept putting our voices until 2016, when it became worst with the Anglophone crisis that hit the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon where I worked. It became very difficult for women leaders to be able to continue doing their work because they were affected. The women's spaces were shrinked and women do not have the opportunity to talk because the rate of insecurity increased. And there was lots of hate speech that any woman or women who engage into peace building activities should be killed. The rate of kidnapping increased, women economic spaces destroyed, schools burnt, and communities all displaced because we were wanting to fight for something that we think is right. We found ourselves in a huge mess. And so there was need for the women to come back, reseat and recollect and ask where this crisis was coming from, who orchestrated the crisis, and the crisis is affecting the women and their children, and also their husbands are killed. What should women do? Our work shifted from the schools, from the communities, now to internally displaced communities and host communities, to be able to talk to families that were affected, women that were affected, and children who could not go to school because their mental health, and they also needed livelihood to survive. They had lost everything. So we now started finding solutions in those host communities together with the affected population of the crisis. We distributed support to 1,000 and we had social health trainings. We would need to see how to generate income, push our women to comply again. Things in life has not been easy. A lot of pain And so much needs to be done in terms of reconciliation, rebuilding broken homes, rebuilding broken communities, to be able to find that space where we can be able to talk and see what is going wrong. The non-state actors are against the population. The government is against the population, and the population of my region is helpless. As women, we faced a lot of attack, online attack, physical attacks. We are kidnapped, and we cannot be able to raise our voices the way we used to do. And that is why you will find most women from Cameroon not talking again, because we are exhausted. We've tried our best, and we're still on the forefront, trying to see if we can be able to propose solutions that will be able to improve on the lives of the affected and the suffering population. And 90% of this population are women and children. Our young boys, our young girls are radicalized, and they've gotten into real violence, and they are fighting their parents. There is need for reconciliation. And that is how we moved into the peace building process, where we started with a sit-down lamentation, calling on all the women to add their voices and see if we could be able to have a seat on the table and not on the menu any longer. Women had conferences, we had lots of press articles written about our situation. We did a lot of publicity, had town hall meetings, and we also went into creating networks. We attended lots of international meetings, adding our voices, creating women's spaces so that we could be able to advance better conditions for those living in crisis. And that is how I got to create the Peace Builder, Women Peace Builders Network, made up of about 21 organizations, but basically on issues on mediation. We wanted to build women's capacity in mediation and to see that they could be able to mediate in their homes, mediate in the communities, and mediate everywhere that they are, so that we can find peaceful solutions, because a lot of persons have been killed. Our children, our husbands, and most of us women have also died in the struggle. And so we actually been able to have lots of meetings. Like I said, our focus is basically on mediation. But my organization has been able to do a lot in terms of carrying out peace building trainings, donating in schools to encourage children stay at school, especially internally displaced children. And we've also received we've received support, international support, and also support from local donors. But at a point, we thought that we could be able to talk and see how we could be able to localize the actions of mediation while bringing our action plan into action. Because UN Resolution 1325 talks about protecting women in conflict. But how are they protected? There are beautiful laws, and there's a beautiful action and strategic plan put in place. But how does it go to help women who are in difficult situations? And so we decided to get into the community to build the track 3 of community women mediators, where we've trained over 71 grassroots women on issues of mediation. And so they can be able to mediate on communities, in community structures, and can also be part of the policies that take place at the level of the grassroots. So we have been able to create a community of practice where we brought stakeholders, civil society, traditional leaders, and all that matters to be able to talk about these issues, giving these women a space to be able to talk. That is increasing women's participation and women's voices into peace building processes at grassroots. And this is the project that we have at hand. And we are hoping that it will be able to give women a broader space to talk about their issues and not people talking for them. We can be able to mentor more women so that we can be able to build peaceful communities. And so all issues on gender-based violence, sexual-based violence that is existing in the communities will be reduced. That is our wish, but we keep struggling and we're still in the fight. I just want to applaud my sisters from every direction. And I want to tell our sister who is a widow that with all the work that I've been able to do, I have come back to be in the circle of widows. And now this is a different ball game. And this is what I will say, and I'm saying it loud, that we need to be able to protect widows. Most of us are going to be widows, and we are advocating for others, not knowing that tomorrow we are going to be in the spaces and we are going to be able to talk about widows' rights. As a widow, I'm stigmatized. As a widow, my husband didn't keep a will. I have issues. My in-laws are craving for my husband's property. As a widow, you go through without any psychological, emotional, physical, and financial support. So there is need to build the manpower when you are still strong. There's need to preserve this wealth, because at the point when you are vulnerable, there is no one to come to your aid. Our cultures and traditions and our stigmas, and they still work, because as Africans, we have a culture that covers us. And even though we are educated as women, they will still subject us to this culture, these barbaric cultures. And there is nothing we can do, because our children are vulnerable. Our children are vulnerable. I face it. I also feel very, very disheartening. And I'm talking to my sisters who have spouses who are completely disabled and cannot be able to do anything. They need our support. My husband was completely paralyzed for 5 years. While we are advocating, we are carrying lots of baggages on our backs. We are carrying our families. We are carrying communities. We are carrying our mental health with us. And so there is need for support. There is need to create safe spaces for women leaders who work for others. So it's a wonderful opportunity, this 16 days activism which we have, to raise our voices and actually build a safe net and protections for widows. Because at the level of the law, yes, the law may be able to protect widows, but the tradition and customs do not protect widows, and this needs to be revised. I think at this point, I want to say it's important for us to continue building the synergy. It's important for us to hold government accountable for those policies that they've been able to accept and they are not implementing them. There is a need for more economic empowerment of women and their families, because they need the resources. And we just cannot be able to depend on donors and funding all the time. We need economic empowerment, because the finances will help us to get into the spaces that are limited. Thank you very much. I think I rest my case.
Ada, you have just laid out you've just laid out the program that needs to be taken to the UN. you've just laid out the thousands of ways that this patriarchy is designed to make it difficult, if not impossible, for women to speak, for women to survive, for women to take care of families. And I'm glad that this is being recorded, because all of the speeches here and yours most recently are a documentation of the work that we are all doing and the visions that we have for what's possible in the future. And this is the reason that these meetings and these speakouts are so important. And I want to give a huge shout out to Maria for what you have done to make this possible year after year, and particularly this session right now is a documentation of what's needed. There is another speaker who's waiting to speak. Charles, if you're still with us, I know you have a young woman there who has been wanting to speak, and we want to give you the floor. We'll just wait a minute to see. They've been waiting. Yes.
Yes, we formed the men champions to support this issue, and I'm glad that we go around to the locations so that I see men to join this issue of fighting for our spouses, fighting for our daughters, fighting for girls and even boys, because boys also face gender-based violence. So we are actually in the field trying to see that we reduce, because we cannot finish it, we reduce the issue of gender-based violence against women and girls. So when we discuss with you people, I really feel enlightened and feel that I have some people who can stand with me in the support of the fight. And I've had quite a number of sisters talking about the issue of finances, and we need to do serious advocacy to our county governments and even national governments so that they can increase the budget for the fight. I have one of my champions that would like just to express his gratitude. And I want to say that we are all in the fight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Christopher, and I think what has come across is really, and we as men champion, we decided that only women and girls cannot end the fight. We need to support them so that it is easier for men to go and talk to the other men, because those are the perpetrators of violence, so that we show them the right thing to do. And we decided that if we can put our hands together, we sensitize our men, because we do even go up to prisons, because those are the areas that perpetrators are taken, and later on, they will come back to the community and they stay with the victims. So this cannot be done when peace has not been prevailed. So we normally bring them together. We make sure we do the counseling, and also we advocate for the government to come in so that we do the right thing. And that one has really given us mileage. So in addition to that, also, we found that it's always good to reach to the community. So the community, by reaching to the community, we sensitize them, we talk through local leaders, government, all community groups, so that every time we go even to the churches, we make sure at least we have a session to talk about gender-based. And I know when we put together our efforts, I know we shall win the fight, because women does a lot of work. Because when you see women, according to what is done, men does very little work, but the women are the victims because they do a lot of work. So that one, has now given us a way through so that we can put all these things to end up the fight. Thank you very much for that session.
Thank you. I think that's all.
Well, thank you very much for being here and for listening and for carrying the information that you gather from women here and in your community and for all that you do. It's very true that we have a money system built to keep money from women, especially if we are change-making women, and we need to find ways to change that, because as everyone here knows who's working with very little funding or no funding, we could be doing so much more. But we also depend on and am grateful for work that men are doing to change the attitudes of other men and the boys, the next generation, to support them, that it's okay to be gentle. It's okay to care about women in a respectful way. So thank you for your contribution today. I want to make sure that I haven't missed anyone who is hoping to speak. If you have not spoken yet and you would like to say a few words, would you do a hand raise or just come on, let us know that you would like to add to this amazing list of changes that need to be made. And I see you, Jay Brenda, and I just, before you speak, want to thank you, Ada, again for everything that you have said and everything that you are doing long distance for your country, which is still, after all these many years, at war. So thank you for being here.
Jay Brenda goes on. We also ask all of you, my sisters and my brothers that are in attendance today, you see there's a QR code on there. If you can scan it so that we can get your feedback and your recommendations after this session. So you can do us and yourself as well, because the feedback we get, we are going to be sharing it, and it's going to help us develop and improve and do better next time. Like already, a great suggestion has been put forward by Sister Loretta. So we want you to understand that these recordings are very important. Your feedback is important. Your voice matters. And we're in this fight together in the collective. So thank you.
For those one that cannot take from here, is the link in the chat as well.
Jay Brenda, go ahead.
We still have Jay Brenda to hear from. If you're still, are you ready to take the floor, Jay Brenda?
Yes.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm having a bit of network issues.
We can hear you.
But okay. I think I have so much to share, but and I'm not so sure where to start from, because on the issues of gender-based violence, I have faced it myself from my young, right from home. Then I've seen a number of people in the community, the women and girls do go through this. And then there's this one, the most recent. It happened at workplace, and I really don't know if a number of people go through this in their workplaces, because I've been put in a new unit, and I've seen, I really don't know if because where I've been working or where I've come from. It's a humble place. And where I've been put right now, people, because you can enter like this and you can tell that these people are from wealthy families. They've studied in the US, in the UK. For you, you've never gone anywhere. You just, so there's a way they look at you, then they will bully you. Then I really don't know if this kind of violence is ever spoken about, because I have seen that we have an admin. As an admin, you're supposed to be like the mother of the office or the section and bring people together and try to resolve issues here and there, but you're not supposed to participate in it, encourage it. So I don't know how this is handled elsewhere, because I feel I have lost interest in the work. I don't know, because this kind of violence is actually comes with a lot of dictatorship and all like that. I think my voice is cracking because of network issue. I don't know.
We can hear you.
Okay. Now getting back to what I do, I have a grassroots organization. It is not yet registered, but it is already running, and it mainly deals with women and girls, because the mission is for all the girls in the community to be able to go to school and help them stay longer in school by providing them with the necessities that will support them to pursue their education. Because in my community, girls have always been looked at as people that you just waste your resources on if you send them to school, because they believe that they'll get pregnant, drop out of school. But also what I have seen, the reason as to why a girl would get pregnant and drop out of school is because she's
Sorry, we didn't hear you.
She's not getting the kind of support she's supposed.
Okay.
Because a girl gets pregnant from school early because she's not getting the kind of support she's supposed to get and stay in school. For example, last year I was working from the village. I stayed there for a year and I observed a number of things whereby, you see, a girl has to walk 2 to 3 hours to school, whether it is raining or it is shining. But when she meets this guy who is riding a motorcycle, because that is his business, so he will just offer to give her a lift to school. She will accept it innocently today, then tomorrow, then before you know it, the guy has taken advantage of her. And I've seen this young man or the men in the community. He already has 2 wives, 3 wives, and he's still running after this school girl who is 14, 16. So it is hard. So we cannot say you just waste your money on supporting girls stay in school, but when you're sending her to school, you also make sure you give her the necessary thing that will enable her to stay in school, to focus on her studies so that she's able to perform well. And then the other mission of the the focus of my organization is the women themselves. When you support a woman by giving her a little funding where she's able to generate income, this income will not only support her, she'll be able to support her husband, support the children to stay in school, and then from there she will be able to, make this connection with other women. Then they will be able to create this group where they do the savings and keep multiplying that money that will enable them to strive as a family. Eventually the community is going to strive and make life easy for everyone, and that will eliminate some sort of this violence which may come as a result of either frustration because the resources are not there. So the only thing that a man will do is just to get angry at the wife or the kids and beat them all the time. But when these women are supported, they may not be able to go through this. They'll bring this kind of happiness in the family that will enable them to also escape the violence. So I think let me rest my case here for now.
Well, thank you, Jay Brenda, and resting your case on your call for us ending all of the violence is the perfect way to end this incredible speak out that we've had together today. This is being recorded. It can be shown again. It can be kept alive. It can be kept known that this is the kind of work that World Pulse Sisters are doing. It strengthens our connections with each other every time we get to be together like this, and in all of the ways that World Pulse makes possible. But I want to thank all of you for your precious time and your beautiful, powerful words that are now documented in our call for an end to all forms of violence against girls and women globally. And Maria, thank you for making this possible. Thank you for being there always to make sure that we keep going, make sure that we trust the work that we're doing. This has been the World Pulse women and gentlemen who understand the importance of being with us speak out for this 16 days against violence against women and girls globally 2024.
Wow. It just feels so good to be able to sit back and take it all in. So for me, it's always heartwarming. But I would like to take this opportunity to call my sisters by name, starting with Tamrak, Banja, Jay, Brenda, Beatrice Karongo, Binta, Judith, Adamba, Carolyn Seaman. We thank you. We missed your voice today, but we know you are Africa's jewel. Avin, you've been with us from all the way from India every single day when we started. Caroline from Kenya, Faiza Farouk, you give us comfort and hope that the fight is still on, and a solidarity with the Afghan women, with women in Pakistan, that the fight is not yours alone, but together with my sisters from Africa and worldwide, we are with you in this fight. And Sister Busaya, wow, so ever passionate. Amy Swiffen, our brother, uncle who wears a skirt and has been fighting this fight with us for 5 years counting. We want to thank you. And my partner in crime, Monica. Now, Monica is now African. She's originally from Colombia, but just like I tell her, I am Colombian now. She is African. She is one of us. We already adopted Tam. We all know that. So now we keep adopting more into their sisterhood. But I want to pay special homage to all my African sisters, because I am African first more than anything else. And it gives me joy when you raise your voices and when you challenge us to say, when we go in those spaces where sometimes those doors are not opened, we are going to shout in a good way and say we have arrived, because who better to address our issues besides ourselves? Now I want to say to all my sisters who are in this call today, your voices matter. Your courage inspires us to change, and your actions spark transformation in the fight against gender-based violence. Remember that every step you take builds a safer mode and safer world, which we all aspire for. And if I can only encourage you, stand strong, speak boldly, and you know you're part of that powerful movement, which is going to shape a brighter future for all. And I want us to understand that we cannot quit. We have come too far to drop the towel. The fight is on. We want those girls who Caroline stands to lead, those girls that Sister Loretta is leading, those girls that Sister Busoya is leading, Sister Binta is leading and fighting for, Adamba is fighting for. We want their future to be better. We want those young girls to be called by their names. We want them to be respected for their brains and their worth, not just for the birthright. Their voices matter. We want our young girls to be part of this platform too. We no longer want to speak for them. Their voices matter. We were reminded today that the widows, the fight for equality for women does not exclude the widow or the women with disability. There are women. And I'm happy to say we are going to be discussing a little bit more with the widows, because we did set aside for them where the widows will share their journeys, their struggles, and it's worth each and every one of us to come in and listen. That's the call to action. And that's the challenge I leave you. And I know Banja is with us, and she will tell a little bit about the African Women Leadership Network. And that's how we'll wrap the day. And Banja, and I know tomorrow we are challenging the systems that were set in place. And I think today I kind of heard, is UN doing enough? But the question is, are we as leaders, as activists, as feminists, do we understand the role of CEDA? Do we understand the role of Maputo Protocol and the Istanbul Convention? All these, like somebody said, they're beautifully framed, beautifully made. But whilst they're beautiful and well written, are they doing enough? Are they doing enough to protect the women? Tamrak reminded us and said, is the UN doing enough for the Middle Eastern women? And I'll say to you, my sister Tamrak, I'll also challenge that question and say, are they doing enough for the sisters in Sudan? Are they doing enough for the sisters in Congo? Are they doing enough for the sisters in Cameroon? Are they doing enough? Are they doing enough? Our stories, if I can put that disclaimer before I jump off, as African women, we have toiled and suffered. And I almost feel like as African women, we are the most ignored. And we are the only people that as African women who will be able to change the narrative. We have had women die in Sudan. We have had sisters die in Nigeria. We have had sisters die in Cameroon. But I do not hear them march on the streets to shout out for us. I do not see them march on the street to represent the African woman, the most ignored woman in the movement. Yet they ask for our participation. I yield. So that is the challenge. We shall wait. And as African women and the sisterhood, the time is now. We are the only ones who are responsible for changing the trajectory of our destiny. So we will have the conversations, and we're not going to stop. My question is, all these legal frameworks and instruments that are there, beautifully orchestrated, beautifully written, do they save all, or the system itself decides who to serve? Therefore, I yield, and I'll leave this time to Banja. Ms. Banja, I see you're here. If you can unmute yourself, because Banja is part of the African Women Leadership Network, and we would like to hear from her. So Banja, Linda Banja, unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. It's been a journey for me. On World Pulse, World Pulse is home because I think I've spent the past, 14 years as a member of World Pulse. I was there since its inception, but also I get the grace to be on the other side as well, to present the African women. As my co-lead introduced us before, Immaculate. My name is Linda Banja. I am a lawyer, but as well, aside from that, I'm a member of, I'm a co-lead by grace of African Women Leadership Network, particularly the SRHR, Sexual Reproductive Health Rights and Gender-Based Violence I'm sorry, Maria, for the numbers. Today is Sunday in Nairobi, and most times people get time to have with family. So the number would have been much bigger if today was a weekday as opposed to today, but you'll forgive us for today. But basically my message to us today is, I think all of us are alive to the fact that sexual gender-based violence is metamorphing into different forms, different angles, different perspectives, and basically it is capturing every facet of our lives. So I think my message and my call to action is for us to be more alive. Let us be woke to our surroundings, and how can we positively impact the situations that are around us. In another platform, I had the opportunity to advise, which I also want to do in this platform as well, is let us be our sisters' keeper. Because I think one thing I've realized in this role as well is that there are a lot of people who are hurting. There are a lot of people who are going through intimate partner violence. There are a lot of people who are actually being sexually assaulted and they're remaining silent. Let us be there for one another. Sometimes somebody is hurting. Sometimes, and gender-based violence is not restricted to the physical aspect. There's emotional, there's financial, there's sexual, there's all manner of ways of looking at it. But my key call for action is that let us be there for each other. I think supporting the person who's next to you. Sometimes somebody wants to tell you that maybe yesterday they were beaten up by their boyfriend, or somebody sexually assaulted them, or something happened to them. Then they do not have that avenue to share that. I'm talking this because I am also a victim. I was working somewhere and I had the misfortune of working for somebody who was sexually aggressive. So it got to a point the person threatened to kill me because there's a case in Uganda, an athlete who had passed on. So I refused the person's advances, and the person got to the extent of threatening my life. So I had to report it to the police. But before I did that, there was a lot of resistance because I kept telling myself, this is Banja. Nobody can threaten you. I mean, you're a lawyer. But I think we had that conversation with my mom, and she told me, you know, I do not have another personal copy paste somewhere that is calling the Banja is exactly like you. So you have to go and report it. So my call to action is for us: do not let it, keep quiet when things are happening to you. If you're not comfortable with a peer or a friend or your parent, just ensure there is somebody who's there to walk with you through that journey. Do not underestimate it, because even the rates of violence that we're having right now, even for the femicide, they're not strangers. The people who, I think if I share short photos from my phone, although right now it would be a bit illegal because the photo I'd be sharing this, a dad who had put his daughter on the lap, and he's saying how he feels when he looks at her, he gets sexually excited. So that is how rotten our society has gotten to. So let us be alive, in whatever capacity that you are in. Be there for your kids, be there for your sister, be there for your friend, be there for your colleague, be there for the people around you, because there are things that are happening every day. And unfortunately, this violence does not come from strangers. There are people who we work with, there are people who we relate with, there are people who we talk to. Secondly, I've talked about the metamorphing of the sexual, the gender-based violence, because right now it's gotten to the technologically backed sexual gender-based violence. And this is taking different ranks, because with children, it's child trafficking, with women and with young girls, it's cyberbullying, with the older women, it's actually just sexual aggression. So how are you looking at it? Do not underestimate that somebody who is your colleague is putting a word that is not comfortable with you online and you're just silent. Because that's how you're giving somebody room to continue abusing you, to continue assaulting you, to continue doing things to you. So be there. Be there to those people around you. And when we are noticing these different changes, different forms that they are taking, let us be also ready to do advocacy and training and enlightening those people within our community, those people around us, that even a text message under the cybercrime of Kenya is wrong. Yes, there are things you do not just do it because somebody. Yes, there's flattering, but there's flirting that is allowed between a man and a woman. But there are things that are just sexually aggressive and totally wrong. So be alive to the different facets that the gender-based violence is taking. The third arm that I'd like to take up is the aspect of climate change. This is a new development as well. When you look at our environment, as women, we are affected by even the slightest change of weather. So those are the things that also get to impact how we relate, because you cannot be whole. You cannot give, you cannot give what you don't have. So you cannot be at your best, at your utmost 100%. If, let's say, you've gone to another place where there's a lot of environmental pollution, and that has an impact on the climate there, and that either affects also whatever you're feeding on, or even your menstrual cycle. So also be quite alive to those changes. My fourth aspect on just our physical makeup as young women is of be aware about your body. Some of us, genetics may take root in our families. There are people who their menses ends at 40, and you step into menopause. But that transition is not, it's not, there's no one who explains to you, oh, this is what's happening to you. Because you only get to have, one day you're in the mood, tomorrow you don't want to see anyone. So there are a lot of changes that happen. So it's important to have that discussions. I know not everybody is open to sharing such things, but also create platforms, avenues where people can have that transition, because you transitioning from your menstruals, having your menses and not having it. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of physical and chemical reactions that happen in the body. And some you only get to realize it when you're discussing it with somebody else and they're like, what? That's what is happening to me. So let us be in that transition in our bodies. It's important that we have discussion. I know some of us don't, like my mom is quite far, but have friends, have people who are around you who can explain to you, oh, this is what's happening, and this is how you transition. Sometimes this is what happens. Sometimes you have hot flashes, you have all those things. But it's your body, and you need to understand it, and you need to appreciate it, and take care of yourself. You cannot replace yourself. We would not also be all of us here if each of us was not taking good care of who we are, and that starts with our sexuality. Those key vital organs in your body. Are you going for to check for breast cancer in October, because October is breast cancer awareness month? Are you going to check that? Are you going for the pap smears to check that your sexual reproductive health is okay? So it's important to have those checkups as well, as part of ensuring that you're whole as a person. And you cannot be replaced. Your footprint is you. We can't have another Maria Mbanga. We cannot have another Tamek. We can only be who we are at this point in time that God has allowed us to be. So always take care of yourself. That's it. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. What a way to wrap it all up today. Reminded, so many nuggets, so much to take away. I just want to briefly remind everybody you'll be able to watch the full recording on our YouTube channel. And Monica did put in the link in the chat. Because you can watch it as many times as you want. You can hit the button, play it back, and do whatever you want. And you can even share it. So it's all about sharing. It's not so much of liking, I say, because sometimes we loosely use those words, but it's about information sharing. Whenever we share good information, remember, you are transforming lives. You are a lifeline to somebody who needs to hear this today. Your story, what you've presented, are lifelines for the leader, for the animator, for that woman who's in a situation, for the widow who doesn't know what tomorrow will be like. But all these tools and your success stories don't serve just as inspiration and motivation, but they are transformational narratives that will give the grassroots leader who has got little resources to say, if Binta can do it, I can. If Beatrice can do it, I can. If Ada can do it, I can. If you're talking to girls, be inspired by girls' voices. Maybe it's time you give Caroline a call and ask her how she did it. Reaching thousands and thousands and thousands of young girls, transforming young girls' lives. And she's a student of learning. And I know Caroline, if I'm right, she's always sharing. She's willing to share the information. She'll give the resources. So for some of us that are girl organization leaders, I'm just putting it out there because this is why we do this. To exchange information, to learn from each other, to unlearn what has not been working, and to improve. When we leave this space, we leave feeling empowered, feeling reignited to go and do more. But most of all, it's a hope that is actually sustainable. And that's why we do this. It's not because, and I'll pause it there, but it's to empower and elevate one woman, one girl, one boy, one man, one community at a time. It's to give them a hope, but a hope that is sustainable. That's our call to action. I want to say I appreciate you all. My heart is just full. This is a sisterhood that we have created. And I hope one day God will grace us to meet each other in the physical. We keep meeting one way or the other. He's making it possible. So Tam, together with the World Pulse sisters, I'm glad Nitsai told you she had a sister. I'm reflecting on that. And Mamacita, I know your heart is as full as mine, but I want them to hear it from you. So today you do the closing because they have to hear Monica, because Monica always apologizes that her English, she's Colombian, so she will speak Colombian English. And we say we love you all the same. So take it away, baby.
No, thank you. It's enlightening to hear from everybody that we are doing the job. Don't stop. The only way that is to looking for the way is to continue to talk. Every time that you go in the platform, you talk to somebody, you are helping one woman. And as we say in Hope for Her Global, is one woman, one girl at a time. Is the only way that we're going to do it. It doesn't have to be sometimes the multitude, but that woman that you are helping is going to help another woman. And that is the way. And do it with love. Forgive yourselves. Love yourselves. And love the others. I know that is the situations that are really hard. And it's hard to feel love. But if we do it, not for power, but for love, we are getting there. That's it.
Muchas gracias. Merci beaucoup. Asante sana. Maita henyu siavonga zikomo. And we will see you once again tomorrow. We are back. We are going to be doing this over and over until the 10th of December. And tomorrow, like we said, we discuss yet a more sensitive issue as well about the instruments. Are they serving the purpose? And during the week, we've got exciting stuff. So just be on the lookout. And if you're able to join us, we would appreciate that. If you can listen in, we'll tune it live as well. So you'll be able to listen in from the comforts of wherever you'll be. Let our voices echo through the mountaintops and the hilltops, across the seas and beyond. And let those echoes outlive us. I love you all. I salute each and every one of you.
Thank you, Maria. Salute
Always.
you too.
Thank you. Have a good day. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mama Tam.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
everyone.
much for this.
Thank you.